Uh-oh. Hello everyone, welcome to my video. Today is Monday the 13th of January 2020. My name is Dan Guitar from Thailand. In this video, I'd like to talk about the true Dhamma or Nirvana for only people who have the most wisdom. If you are a real person who want to attain Nirvana in this life, you have to listen to me only. Because I have attained Nirvana for past 16 years, I'm ready to help everyone on this earth attain Nirvana in this life as well. I'm ready. But are you ready? It's up to you. The topic to speak in this video is the perception through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body. The mind act as awareness. Okay, the story I will say the following, or everything I have already said. I want you to understand about the flavors idea or thought process, because the idea is the heart of quenching suffering. If anyone can know their own thoughts, that means you find a way to end all suffering. Nothing more to study than this. Can you stand me? The ultimate wisdom in Buddhism, we study only the subject of the mind. We did not study about human existence. Please bear in mind. Can you stand me? Our true self does not really exist. Can you stand me? No one suffering, no one happiness. Because our true self does not really exist. The story I will say the following. It's very difficult to understand, or hardly impossible to understand. So, first of all, you must open your mind to listen, with intent to listen seriously, and consider along as I said over and over again until it goes deep into your heart. Then you will understand it. When you listen to me, You must consider along as I said over and over again. If you want to overcome anger, overcome suffering, overcome depression and anxiety, can you understand me? If you want to overcome anger, overcome suffering, overcome depression and anxiety, you must try to understand every story I convey and consider along as I said over and over again until it goes deep into your heart. Then you will understand it. And finally, you will have the opportunity to attain nirvana in this life. Can you stand me? You know, every story I convey in this video, the story in this talk, in reality, it has no meaning as we understand it. Can you stand me? Because the meaning of the language we use in everyday life, it does not really exist. We can understand each other because we were taught to believe in the meaning of the language. But in reality, the meaning of the language, whether spoken language and written language, it does not really exist. Can you understand me? The language is the barrier to achieve nirvana. The language is the barrier to attain nirvana. Because the meaning of the language, it does not really exist in this talk. Please believe it's true. That first understand each other, communication temporarily. Can you understand me? In this talk, I didn't teach you anything. Can you understand me? I didn't teach you anything. I didn't teach you to believe me. But I have to borrow the fictional language to create content and story to talk to you for understanding about the various idea or thought process. Can you understand me? In this talk, the topic in this talk is the perception through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and the body. The mind acts as awareness. It doesn't mean we are awareness because our true self does not really exist. Everything on this earth is soulless. The Buddha taught everything on this earth is an impermanent. The Buddha taught everything on this earth is an impermanent because it's deteriorating all the time. Everything on this earth is soulless. It's not an ego. Our true self does not really exist. No one suffering, no one happiness. Can you understand me? Where can I find the meaning of our true self? No, not at all. Because the meaning of our true self does not really exist. It's such a fictional language. In this talk, I want you to understand. What is true Dhamma in Buddhism? What is the true Dhamma in Buddhism to end suffering? You know. What we see now is true Dhamma because it's really what we see now is true Dhamma in Buddhism. It's really. Can you understand me? It doesn't mean that we see what we see now. It doesn't mean that we see and what we hear now like this. What we hear now, it doesn't mean that we hear. You know, in reality of true Dhamma in Buddhism, what we see now we call the state of seeing, and what we hear now we call the state of hearing. Can you understand me? Because our true self does not really exist. You know, the ultimate wisdom of true Dhamma in Buddhism, we study only the subject of the mind. We didn't study about human existence. Because our true self does not really exist. Our full self is not really exist. What you see over here now, it doesn't mean anything. You see in the way you see and you hear in the way you hear. It's a true Dhamma. Can you understand me? What you see right here now is natural. As I told you, what we see now, what we see now is true Dhamma in Buddhism. It doesn't mean that we see, but we call it the state of seeing. Can you understand me? What we see now, it doesn't mean that we see, but it means the state of seeing. And what we hear now, it doesn't mean that we hear. In reality of true Dhamma in Buddhism, we call the state of hearing. Can you understand me? The true Dhamma in Buddhism is very simple to understand. You know, those who are interested in Buddhism, they lack wisdom and misunderstood because they believe that the Buddhism can help them to end suffering. No one suffering, no one happiness. Those who are interested in Buddhism on this world, they lack wisdom and misunderstood because they believe this is our true self, this is my body, this is my wife, this is my son, my property. No, our true self does not really exist. So, my wife, my son, my property, my wife, my son, my property, my daughter, it does not really exist too. Can you understand me? You know, I have something to show you. The word dukkha in Pali, the word dukkha in Pali in Buddhism, it means suffering. The word dukkha. The word dukkha in Pali, in Buddhism, it means suffering. You know, suffering. What does it mean? The word suffering, it doesn't mean we are suffering, we are happiness. Not at all. No. Not at all. Dukkha, the word dukkha in Pali, in Buddhism, it means everything on this earth is an impermanent. The word dukkha or suffering in Buddhism, it doesn't mean we are suffering, but it means everything on this earth is an impermanent. It means everything on this earth is an impermanent because it's here real all the time. We cannot control everything on this earth. Even what you see now, it doesn't mean human being. We are not be a human being. We are just something happen to the mindful awareness or mental phenomena. Can you understand me? If you want to overcome anger, overcome suffering, you must try to understand this story as much as possible. until it go deep into your heart. Then you understand it. Suffering, it doesn't mean we are suffering. Happiness, it doesn't mean we are happiness. You are you. Because you lack wisdom and you misunderstood. You lack wisdom and misunderstood. You believe this is our true self. No. Where can I find the meaning of our true self? Where can I find my wife, my son, my property? The word my wife, my son, my property, it's just a fictional language. It's word created by human on this earth for understanding communication temporarily. It's in your thought, it's in my thought. Can you understand me? In this talk, I want you to understand the true Dhamma in Buddhism is what you see over here now, what we see over here now is true Dhamma because it's really what we see now is really, and what we hear now is really. Can you understand me? You know, what we see and what we hear now in every life is an impermanent because it's deteriorated all the time. We cannot control everything on this earth. Even we cannot control even in the fictional language. What we see now, we call a man. A man. The word a man is just a fictional language for communication, understanding temporarily. Where can I find the meaning of a man, a guitar? What we see or what we hear now in every life from birth to death is true Dhamma in Buddhism because it's really. Can you understand me? It doesn't mean that we see. It doesn't mean that we hear. Can you understand me? The word dukkha in Pali in Buddhism, the word dukkha is mean suffering. The word suffering, it doesn't mean we are suffering, but it means the word dukkha or suffering in Buddhism, it means everything on this earth is an impermanent. What we see and what we hear is an impermanent because it deteriorates all the time. We cannot control everything on this earth. For example, when a child is born, we call a baby. When a child is born, we call a baby. From the baby become a boy, and then the boy become teenage, and then the teenage become adult. Adult become an old man, and finally, everyone on this earth must die. Can you understand me? When a child is born, we call a baby. A baby become a kid. A kid become teenage. A teenage become adult. An adult become an old man. Finally, everyone on this earth must die. Can you understand me? This is, as I told you, it's mean. Impermanent because it's deteriorated all the time. We cannot control this body. In this talk, please believe, temporarily for understanding communication, It's harder in this talk. Please believe this is my body. For understanding temporarily in this talk. Huh? Can you understand me? In this talk, please believe temporarily understanding is harder. This is body. We cannot control this body. We cannot control this body because our true self does not really exist. Huh? As I told you, when a child is born, it becomes a baby. Then the baby becomes a boy. The boy becomes teenage. The teenage becomes adult, and adult become an old man. And finally, we must die. The Buddha taught, people attain nirvana in this life. Achieving nirvana is the end of all suffering because there is no cause to be born anymore. The Buddha taught people attain nirvana in this life. Achieving nirvana is the end of all suffering because there is no cause to be born anymore. Please bear in mind. The ultimate wisdom in Buddhism will study only the subject of the mind. We did not study about human existence because our true self does not really exist. Those who are interested in Buddhism lack wisdom and misunderstood. They believe that this is our true self. No, not at all. Where can I find our true self? It does not really exist. The word our true self, the word my body, is just the fictional language for communication, understanding temporarily. It's just a thought. In this talk, I want you to understand about the perception through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body. The mind acts as awareness. It doesn't mean that we are awareness. Sometimes we call nature is aware of nature. The ultimate wisdom of true Dhamma in Buddhism is very easy to understand, but we lack wisdom. Those who are interested in Buddhism, they like meditation. I want to ask you, when you meditate, have you ever restored the peace of mind? The true Dhamma in Buddhism, it doesn't mean mindfulness. It doesn't mean meditation. It doesn't mean mindfulness training. The correct Dhamma practice in Buddhism, it doesn't mean practicing. The correct Dhamma practice in Buddhism, it doesn't mean practicing. It doesn't mean mindfulness training. No. It doesn't mean meditation like this. You were taught to believe this body gesture. And this gesture is mean meditation. In reality, when you do it like this or like this, it's just a body gesture. It's just a body movement. But you were taught to believe this gesture is mean meditation. Where can I find the meaning of meditation? Where can I find the meaning of mindfulness training? Where can I find the meaning of meditation? Where can I find the meaning of mindfulness training? Where can I find? The correct Dhamma practice in Buddhism is listening only. Listening with concentration is the right practice. When you listen to me, you must try to understand. You must try to understand every story I convey and consider along as I said over and over again until you go deep into your heart. You know, the ultimate wisdom in Buddhism, it doesn't mean asking, answering about Dhamma problem or right problem. Those who are interested in Buddhism, like to ask about Dhamma problem or right problem because they believe that this is our true self. Where can I find the meaning of our true self? You lack wisdom and misunderstood. You believe that this is my body, this is my wife, this is my son. And then you attachment to what we see and what we hear. You believe it's our. Where can I find my property, my son, my daughter? A lot of people lack wisdom and misunderstood about the word. Dukkha or suffering. Dukkha or suffering in Buddhism, it doesn't mean we are suffering. Even happiness, it doesn't mean we are happiness because our true self does not really exist. Can you understand me? Not really exist. The Buddha taught people attain awareness in this life. Nothing more to study than this. The Buddha taught people attain awareness in this life. Achieving nirvana is the end of all suffering because there's no cause to be born anymore. The Buddha taught when we die and we born again, we born again with a new body. Our new body, it may not be a human. It may be an animal, maybe devil, or maybe born in hell. But if we are lucky, but to be born again as a human, we may be crippled, such as be deaf and dumb, be a blind man, be a madman, etc. And although we born again as normal person, we must fight food hunger. We born again as normal person. We must fight food hunger. The Buddha taught food hunger is the most suffering disease. The food hunger is incurable disease. You know, when we die and we born again with a new body. Our new body, it may not be a human. It may be animal, maybe devil, or maybe born in hell. But if we are lucky, back to be born again as a human, we may be crippled, such as be deaf and dumb, be a blind man, be a madman, etc. Can you understand me? And of course, you must find a losing of something you love, such as your father and mother die, son and daughter die. You may be find a losing of your property, such as losing a car, losing a house, or losing a land. People who consider along, as I said, they will afraid of death and reincarnation and don't want to be born anymore. And finally, they decided to attain in this life. You know, the Buddha taught, when we die and reborn again, we must find and suffer from any losing, no matter how many times we born again. What we see now, it doesn't mean human being. When we die, it doesn't mean when we die, it doesn't mean we die, but it means this body die. But the mind will reborn again. When we die, it doesn't mean our true self die. It doesn't mean this body die, but it means this. We call this. We call this. What you see now is an impermanent. What you see now is an impermanent. What you see now is real all the time. What you see now, we call this. What you see now, we call this. In the fictional language, we call a man a guitar. For understanding communication temporarily. Can you understand me? The ultimate wisdom in Buddhism, we study only the subject of the mind. We did not study about human existence because our true self does not really exist. Please bear in mind. When we die, it doesn't mean we really die, but it means this. We cannot control this. It's impermanent and deteriorate all the time. In this talk, I say, when we die, this body die, but the mind will reborn again with a new body. When the mind reborn again with a new body, we may be devil, maybe animal, maybe cripple, as I told you. Can you understand me? In this talk, I want to tell you the ultimate wisdom in Buddhism. The ultimate wisdom in Buddhism is the mind. Can you understand me? What's the true Dhamma in Buddhism? What we see, what we hear, what we see, what we hear, what we see, what we hear is true Dhamma. You know, when we drink coffee, we can feel the taste and aroma of coffee, but we cannot describe about the taste and aroma of coffee because the taste and aroma of coffee is natural, it's abstract, but we can feel it's natural. Can you understand me? The taste of coffee and aroma of coffee is really we call to Dhamma in Buddhism. You know, the word I love you, you can know that what does it mean. The word I hate you, you can know that. The meaning of I hate you and I love you is an abstract. You can know that. The meaning of I love you and the meaning of I hate you is really it's true Dhamma in Buddhism. The meaning of I hate you and I love you, it doesn't belong to anyone on this earth because it's just a thought. It's true Dhamma in Buddhism. The true Dhamma in Buddhism is very easy to understand. Can you understand me? Huh? Can you understand me? When we die, it doesn't mean we really die, but it means this body die, this body impermanent, this body deteriorate. We cannot control this body. Then we will die. The word we will die, it doesn't mean human being die. It doesn't mean we are. Can you understand me? Mm-hmm. You know, I show you the word a goat. This word a goat. What you see now we call written language. You can know when you read it. That means you have to think. This word which wrote that a goat, when you read it, it means you have to think. This word is mean because we were taught to believe this word is mean. The meaning of this word and written language as you have seen. Yeah. And this is mean. It means to Dhamma in Buddhism. Akita, this word, it means to Dhamma. In reality, the word Akita is just a fictional language. It's word created by human on this earth. This word. A bottle of water, we were taught to believe. It means what you see now is what we see now is really. It doesn't mean anything. It must be anything. But we were taught to believe a bottle of water. What we see now and what we see now is really it's true Dhamma in Buddhism. Can you understand me? Mm-hmm. You know, I show you 1 plus 1 1 plus 1 must be 2. 1 plus 1 it must be 2. It must be 2. It's correct. 1 plus 1 must be 2. It's correct. What we see now is true Dhamma because it's really you see in the way you see, but you were taught to believe 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Can you understand me? I show you. I show you 1 plus 1 is equal to 5. We say it's wrong. 1 plus 1 is equal to 5. It's wrong. What we see now is true Dhamma because it's really. We were taught to believe 1 plus 1 is equal to 5. It's wrong. Where can I find the meaning of 1 plus 1 is equal to 5? Where can I find the meaning of 1 plus 1 is equal to 2? we cannot find. What we see now is just a fictional language we were taught to believe. We call what we see now is really is true Dhamma. And this the true Dhamma. What we see now, it doesn't mean that we see. What we hear now, it doesn't mean that we hear, but we call the state of hearing. What we see now, we call the state of seeing. Can you understand me? In this talk, I want you to understand the word dukkha or suffering in Buddhism. It doesn't mean we are suffering, but it means everything on this earth we cannot control, because everything on this earth, even me and you, is an impermanent, because it's deteriorate all the time. Can you understand me? For example, again, when a child is born, we call a baby. Then a baby become a boy, and the boy become a teenage, and teenage become adult, and adult become an old man, and finally, everyone on this earth must die. The true Dhamma in Buddhism, we study only the subject of the mind. We did not study about human existence, because our full self does not really exist. Everything on this earth is soulless. It's not an ego. Can you understand me? What is true Dhamma in Buddhism? The true Dhamma in Buddhism is what we see now, what we hear now, what we feel now. What we see now, you see in the way you see, and as you see. What we see now is really we call true Dhamma. It doesn't mean that we see, but we call the state of seeing. Can you tell me? And what you hear now, you hear in the way you hear. You hear in the way you hear, and as you hear. It doesn't mean that we hear, but we call the state of hearing. What we see, what we hear, and what we feel is true Dhamma in Buddhism. When we lift this chair, we feel it heavy. We feel when we lift this chair, if we want to move this chair from here to there, if we want to move this chair from here to there, we feel heavy. Heavy. Can you understand me? What we see, what we hear, what we feel is really. This is true Dhamma in Buddhism to end of all suffering. Can you understand me? The true Dhamma in Buddhism is not possible to teach each other, because there's nothing to teach. Why did I say that? The true Dhamma in Buddhism is not possible to teach each other because there is nothing to teach. Why did I say that? The true Dhamma in Buddhism, is pure mental. It's universal truth. It doesn't have the fictional language to say, so it's no assumption and no words to explain. The wisdom the wisdom of true Dhamma is not in body.The. It's not in the teaching of my own, but it's in your thought, it's in my thought. If anyone can know their own thoughts, that means you find a way to end a false suffering. Nothing more to study than this. Please bear in mind. You know, the conclusion in this talk, I want you to understand about what is true Dhamma in Buddhism. The true Dhamma in Buddhism is what we see and what we hear. Or what we feel when we live. It's very heavy, you know. What we see now, we see in the way we see. We hear in the way we hear. What we see now, we see in the way we see. We hear in the way we hear. We feel in the way we feel. We cannot tell each other what do we see, what do we hear, what do we feel. What do we see is really, it's true Dhamma in Buddhism. It doesn't mean that we see. Can you understand me? What we hear now, it doesn't mean that we hear, but it means the state of hearing. What we see now, it means the state of seeing. Can you understand me? And what we feel now, it means the state of feeling. It doesn't mean our full self. Can you tell me? It doesn't mean our full self. It doesn't mean this body. What we see is mean the state of seeing. What we hear is mean the state of hearing. Can you tell me? You know. And the word dukkha. The word dukkha or suffering in Buddhism is mean everything on this earth, even me and you, is impermanent, is deteriorate all around. We cannot control everything on this earth, even me and you. For example, from now on, I like to talk about an impermanent and deteriorate. Such as when a child is born, we call a baby. Then a baby become a boy, and then a boy become a teenage, and then a teenage become adult, and after that, adult become an old man. Finally, everyone on this earth must die. Everyone on this earth must die. You know, the ultimate wisdom in Buddhism, we study only the subject of the mind. We did not study about human existence. Can you understand me? Because everything on this planet is soulless. It's not an ego. Our true self does not really exist. So, no one suffering, no one happiness. Can you understand me? The Buddha taught people attain nirvana in this life. Achieving nirvana is the end of all suffering because there's no cause to be born anymore. Can you understand me? What you see now, it doesn't mean human being. Me and you, we are just something happened to the mindful awareness. Can you understand me? When we die, it doesn't mean we die, but it means this. We call this, we say this. It doesn't mean this body. We call this. I have to borrow the language to say what you see now is mean this. TSIS is this. This will die. But the mind will be born again with a new body. Can you understand me? This will die. This will die because this impermanent. Because this is impermanent. Because it deteriorates all the time. Then this will die. The word will die is mean impermanent and deteriorate. Can you understand me? No one suffering, no one happiness. Those who are interested in Buddhism lack wisdom and misunderstood. They believe that this is our true self. This is my wife, this is my son, my property. And then we attachment to what we see or what we hear. It was mine. In reality, what we see or what we hear, it's just something happened to the mind for awareness. It doesn't mean anything. It's true Dhamma. What we see, what we hear, what we feel is true Dhamma all around, from birth to death. The true Dhamma in Buddhism is very easy to understand. It doesn't mean practicing. The ultimate wisdom in Buddhism, we study only the subject of the mind. We did not study about human existing because our true self does not really exist. Where can I find the mind? The word mind is such a fictional language for understanding communication temporarily. In this talk, let's support that. The life which is civilized is represent of the mind. Let's support that. Let's support that. The life which is civilized is represent of the mind. The word, the word, the sentence, the life which is civilized is represent of the mind. It's such a fictional language for understanding communication temporarily each other. Every story I convey in this video, you must try to understand and consider along as I said. You must try to understand every story I convey in this video. Can you understand me? The story in this talk is word created by me. In reality, it has no meaning as we understand it. We can't understand each other because we were taught to believe in the meaning of the language. Can you understand me? Have you ever heard someone say like me before? No, not at all. I'm only one person on this earth who talks about this story. The hardest thing for me is how to create content and story about the true Dharma in Buddhism. The hardest thing for me is how to create content and stories about the true Dharma, because I need the meaning in English to be as close to Thai language as possible. That for create content and stories about the true Dharma to talk to you for understanding about the various idea or thought process, because the ideas is the heart of quenching of all suffering. The Buddha taught people attain Nirvana in this life. Can you understand me? Our true self is does not really exist. The word dukkha or suffering, it doesn't mean we are suffering. Even happiness and suffering, it doesn't belong to anyone on this earth. It's just a thought. What we see now, what we hear now, what we feel now, it's true Dharma in Buddhism. The true Dharma in Buddhism is not about practicing. No. Don't meditation. Don't make mindfulness training. Can you understand me? The story in this talk, I want you to understand the perception through the eyes, ears, nose, mouth, tongue. The mind acts and awareness. It doesn't mean that we are awareness. Can you understand me? From now on, I like to talk about realizing our thought or our body movement to end suffering. Realizing our thought or our body movement to end suffering. Such that when you are alone at your house, at first, you do it like this. You do it like this. Can you realize as your body movement, you want to move. You want to movement like this. Can you realize as your leg, you want to do it like this. If you want to move this chair from here to there, can you realize as your thought? At first, you have to think, if you want to move this chair from here to there, at first you have to think. Can you realize as your thought? You have to think. And then there will be an image like this. Before you move this chair from here to there, there will be an image like this in your thought. Can you realize as your thought? There will be an image like this in your thought. And then you do it like this. Wow! Can you feel? It's heavy. You feel in the way you feel. It's an as you feel. We call the state of feeling. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. Powerful self. Can you understand me? You feel in the way you feel. If you want to move the chair from here to there, there will be an image in your thought. And then you do it. Can you feel at your arm, your leg? You must move. Man. This story is very easy to understand. or hardly impossible to understand because you have never heard someone say like me before. In everyday life, we must movement like this. We must do it like this. We must work out. In reality, when you do it like this, we never use the language say to ourselves, now I'm walking, now I'm standing, now I'm sitting. But you do everything natural. You do everything naturally in this position. And then it doesn't mean stand up. It doesn't mean walking. It doesn't mean standing. Because the meaning of the language we use in every life is not really exist. We cannot use the language to replace to what we see or what we hear, because the meaning of the language is not really exist. You know, the conclusion in this talk. I want you to understand the word dukkha in Pali, in Buddhism, is mean suffering. Dukkha or suffering, it doesn't belong to anyone on this earth. It's not sure, it's just mine. Everything on this earth is soulless, it's not an ego. Everything on this earth is impermanent because it deteriorates all the time. Can you understand me? Our whole self is not really exist. No one suffering, no one happiness. The correct Dhamma practice in Buddhism is listening only. Listening with concentration is the right practice. Don't make meditation and mindfulness training categorically. And stop seeking the way to attain now with various methods. You have to listen to me only, because I have attained now for practicing years. I'm ready to help everyone on this earth attain now this life as well. I'm ready. But are you ready? It's up to you.